time doing that. I'd like to call on Majid Jafar initially here. And only in my first question, I want to take a look back because I know he's been working very tirelessly to bring this to the forefront as the next generation of business leaders in the region, to put youth unemployment right at the front of the agenda here. I've been covering the issue for 10 years, going back to the Arab Business Council's very aggressive work in 2003, and I remember attending a summit back in Bahrain on this very subject. What has not worked in the time that we've identified the fact that 100 million jobs need to be created in the next 20 years? So we're at the halfway point. You've done a lot of research on this. Have we benchmarked on that 100 million target, which now people suggest needs to be 85 million by the year 2020? Have we created the 15 million jobs or not? But as a society, are we benchmarking real production and real creation of jobs, or have we just gone backward in the first 10 years of this conversation?
Thanks, John. Well, I think we haven't done enough, clearly. We're going to be at 500 million in this region by 2025, and you talked about the 85 million in the next 10 years. But as Her Majesty made clear, the last couple of years and the transitions we've seen have actually made the problem worse. So what was a chronic problem that we've been talking about for the last decade in the region has now become an acute crisis. And as our friend Masoud Ahmed of the IMF says, we've spent all the time in the last 2 years looking at the consequences of the so-called Arab Spring, and nothing has been done about the underlying causes. And all the polls that have been run in the region with young people show that that is the #1 issue. It's jobs. It was and is even more so the case today. In Egypt, actually, democracy was #9 on the list of priorities, below the Palestinian-Israeli crisis. A latest poll that was done by Asda in Dubai, that a good-paying job is the #1 thing that young people in this region want. It is the dignity. It's not from just, voting at a ballot box, and all the debate has been about when is the next election going to come. So we have the global economic crisis. Our own issues couldn't come at a worse time. The US has its own fiscal issues, political issues. Europe's got its debt issues. And we still have raging conflict, of course. Let's not forget about that in Syria. And instability in other places of the world. But we do still need to start looking at the underlying causes. Failure to employ our youth is not just lower growth today, it threatens our tomorrow. And in our region, I think we still do suffer from the main causes of the youth unemployment. The low growth, clogged labor markets, and a mismatch between education and work. Now, the high-level statistics, we keep hearing them. As Her Majesty said, we've been hearing them again and again. So forget about the high-level statistics. I can't imagine what 85 million people is. Let's make it personal. You're 23 years old. You're living in a crowded apartment with your parents and many siblings. You could be in Cairo. You could be in Sana'a, you could be here in Amman. You haven't done anything productively since you finished education about 3 or even 4 years ago. You've had the odd part-time job, and other than that, you surf the internet. Try and feel that desperation. It's hard, because I'll wager most of the people in this room when they were 23 years old had a bright future ahead of them. And we're excited about it. It's very hard to understand, but do try and empathize, because we need to get, as you said, more granular and away from just the high-level numbers.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. You raise a very interesting point here. One of the challenges, Tariq Youssef, if I can call upon you, your group Silitech is actually created to identify opportunities to bring the youth into the workforce. That's the spirit of Silitech.